person who is going to represent the party yesterday in court, and eventually they didn't come to an agreement, and so their case was adjourned to Thursday, the 16th of October 2025. And also yesterday, something happened within the PDP structure. I'm talking about Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah dumping the party. And he didn't just do this alone. He went with his entire structure in Enugu State to the All Progressives Congress APC. When he was being welcomed, Vice President Kashim Shettima said he is convinced that probably Mbah has always had a broom under his umbrella. You know what that means. The APC structure in Enugu State was collapsed sometime last week to make way for Enugu State Governor, who joined them yesterday. And of course, Kashim Shettima was emphatic about the fact that with Kashim Shettima being now in the party, he controls the structure of the APC in Enugu State. And of course, this ends 26-year reign of the PDP in Enugu State. Some persons are asking, are we drawing closer to a one-party system? Because as it stands, only Anambra and Abia State, which is controlled by APGA and LP respectively, are the only parties in the southeast, which is made up of 5 states, that are not yet progressive. I mean, in the APC way. That's what they say. They say the progressives. That's what they call themselves. And of course, yesterday, like I said, Kashim Shettima was there in Enugu State. And of course, the party's national chairman, Nantewa Iwata, was also there. Also, yesterday, during the swearing in of 20 new commissioners and members of various boards in Edo State, the governor, Monday Okpeblo, said he would not forgive any EXCO member who comes to the EXCO meeting without wearing the Ashiwaju cap. As a matter of fact, he said, you will go home. Like a student coming to school in the wrong uniform. I'm also not going to forget that in Anambra State yesterday, the state governor took a trip down to the biggest market in West Africa. Speaking about main market, Ose precisely. And of course, this is part of the campaign rallies going on. He's not the only one who's doing a lot lately to be all up in the faces of the people against the election coming up on the 8th of November. My name is Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here and he's got a lot more to say. Good morning, Defender.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning to everybody listening to this very morning. Let's begin from what happened yesterday in Abuja, at PDP. I was just wondering the kind of drama playing out between PDP national chairman and the national legal advisor. They were contesting on who has the authority to appoint the legal person who is going to represent them in that very case, which was filed by 3 PDP members. Don't forget that these 3 PDP members, they're actually asking court to stop the national convention of the PDP scheduled for November 15 and 16 on the ground that they had been excluded the wrong way. We're going to see how the court gets to look at that very case by Thursday when it's going to hear when it's going to hear on that very matter. And guess what? The court even gave them the chance for them to go somewhere, talk, and then settle among themselves, but they couldn't settle. And that case was, adjourned. Then you talk about what happened in Enugu State yesterday. Let me go this very way because 2 days ago I announced that Sondudo Koye resigned from PDP, and yesterday he announced that he's now a member of the APC. In fact, he was even on TV where he talked about PDP being dead. I was just wondering, a party you left 2 days ago is now dead. Well, that could be the mark of an average Nigerian politician, and that was the reaction coming from Bode George, who said that he was shocked that the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mbah, left the party. And I was just asking myself, all this while that things have been happening in PDP, does it mean that Bode George wasn't aware? Because Mbah said, if you fail to recognize Sondudo Koye, know that PDP in the southeast in Enugu State are going to leave. And it happened the way he said it. So for me, I think Bode George was just playing the ostrich yesterday. And then, interestingly, in Enugu State, the past 4 governors in that very state, they are now in the APC. Chimaro Kindamani, Sullivan Chime, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, and now Peter Mbah. They are all of the APC stock. So you can say that Enugu is now APC. Then Udoko said something yesterday that one other state in the south is going to join APC. So which state would that be? Because in the southeast now we have 5 states. We have Ebonyi, we have Imo State, and Enugu State. They are now in APC. So we have Anambra and Abia State. Anambra is controlled by ABGA, and then Abia is controlled by Labour Party. So which other state is going to join APC nearest future, just like Udoko said. And then yesterday, the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, he cleared, should I say he cleared the rumor regarding the alleged displeasure on the choice of Amopito as INEC chairman. I spoke about it yesterday here, that there was this rumor that he said away from the National Council of State meeting because he was not pleased with the choice of Amopito as the INEC chairman. But yesterday he said there was no any atom of truth in that rumor which has been flying around. So in the coming days, we will also continue to monitor and see if any other thing is going to develop. And finally, let me say this because I found it very, very instructive that this very morning, a passenger who was in the bus we were coming down to Onitsha with, he did what I expect many Nigerians to be doing if they want the country to be better, because everybody must play a part to make the country better. So when we got to the Obunike toll gate, at that very spot that is very bad, we saw somebody who went to the gutter to dump the refuse he collected from his shop. And guess what this very passenger said? He just brought out his mouth from the window of the vehicle and shouted to the man and said, "Look at you, every time you complain the government is not doing well, and look at how you are contributing to make to this very country." And I said, okay, that's good enough, because Nigerians are actually beginning to pick up this very, if we want to make the country better, it's not about by talking. You complain about everything that government does, but on your own way, you do things worse than what people in government do. So if we must make Nigeria better, we must play our part to make it happen.
Absolutely. We are not alone in the studio. As always, Dr. Tony Olisampek is here to do justice to all of the matters on our table today. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chisom Chile. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, the Anambra. Good morning, the Onitsha. Wherever you are listening to us from, it's always a pleasure. We say good morning to the God Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth, for his mercies. We could not have been here if not by his power. We say good morning to God Almighty. And we are here in our sanctuary to do what we know how best to do. From the look of things, it's going to be a very, very marathon day. A lot of issues happened yesterday, and there are those that are still happening. Trust us again, we are going to do justice to all of them.
Of course, we're going to start off by telling you what the front pages of the paper say. On our desk this morning, we have the Punch newspaper, we have the Guardian, we have the Nigerian Tribune. I've been trying not to mix up the name of that paper. The Nigerian Tribune, and of course we have the Vanguard. And starting off with the Nigerian Tribune, the banner headline here is PDP suffers multiple losses in Enugu, Bauchi, Kaduna. The riders here: Enugu governors defect to APC, Bauchi senator, 3 Kaduna reps leave party. Damagum, legal advisor clash in court. These are on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And page 3, FG drops mathematics as requirements for admission of art students. Frank, after frustrating many, would have been lawyers. Look at a failed lawyer like me.
Mention yourself, because I was coming to that. So you should mention your name.
No, my heart is broken.
You are pained.
I am pained. On page 5, NGX closing gong ceremony. Jim Alvia reaffirms Zenith Bank's commitment to shareholder value. And on page 3 again, Ekiti 2026 coast clears for Oyebanji as APC drops consensus option to pick governorship candidate. Oberwari flags of reconstruction of Wari Saple Benin Road on page 14. Nigeria secures Shell's $2 billion offshore gas project on page 19. IMF raises Nigeria's 2025 growth forecast to 3.9%, projects 4.2% in 2026 on page 5. ASU strike. Rep Speaker to chair committee to reconcile FG varsity workers on page 20. And on the health column of the Nigerian Tribune, brain disorder kills 11 million yearly, affects 40% of global population. That's according to the World Health Organization.
The figure is quite staggering. Then let's look at the headlines we have on Vanguard newspaper. We have this one that says illegal financial outflows worsening Nigeria's revenue problem. That's IMF is saying so. The story is on page 14 of Vanguard newspaper. It has a rider promises renewed focus on tracing such flows to plug fiscal leakages. Upgrades Nigeria's 2025 economic growth forecast to 3.9%. Aside stronger domestic fundamentals. And then another rider says calls for credible fiscal monetary policies. And the final rider says downgrades global economic growth forecast to 2.8%. Then another headline above the nameplate says defections will warn Nigerians on APC's one-party game plan. The story is on page 6. Who is saying so? Wabara. Maths no longer compulsory for arts candidates. FG, it has a rider approves new admission guidelines. The story is on page 26 of Vanguard newspaper. Why I don't PDP for APC? And guess what? He might tell you that he has seen the light or that his policies align with that of the progressives. The story is on page 6. Dangote Refinery deploys CNG trucks to distribute petrol at 850 naira per liter. The story is on page 15. And then Madagascar's president flees as court declares city vacant. Names army chief new leader. The story is on page 8. Then Akpobelo to commissioners always wear Tinubu's cap during ESCOM meetings. The story is on page 12. Quite interesting one. ASU reps move to avert breakdown in varsity system. The story is on page 8 of Vanguard. It has a rider. NLC draws battle line with FG over education crisis. The story is on page 26. FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier. South Africa celebrate as Osimhen sends Nigeria to playoff. The story is on page 12 or page 32. And I must say that Nigerians are celebrating that we qualify for playoff. But I have looked at the people who are going to face in the playoff. And then, because by the time we are done with the playoff within the African continent, we also go beyond African continent to play people from Asia or Oceania. It's a long journey. So people who are very optimistic should also maintain their controlled optimism, because anything can happen.
Because does that sound like you don't have faith in
the fact that we failed to pick the automatic ticket and to try to do it the fire brigade approach. Thank God for Osimhen yesterday, who scored hat-trick. Fantastic display by him. But we missed the opportunity long time ago. So if we fail to make it to 2026 World Cup, in as much as we want to be there, but if we fail, I need.
Okay, let's go over to the Punch newspaper and see some stories that are quite big. Marketers blame Depot as petrol nears 1,000 naira per litre, and court adjourns suit seeking to stop PDP convention. Strike. National Assembly wades into ASU FG dispute. Acting INEC chair outlines plans for Anambra poll. Edu, alien finance minister flown abroad for treatment. ADC opposes National Assembly's proposal for early general elections. Enugu governor, 3 Kaduna reps dump PDP, for APC. Ekiti poll, APC adopts consensus as Oyebanji's rival withdraws. Court orders exhumation, autopsy of Afriland Towers fire victims. Wow, that's okay. Tinubu hails Eagles as Osimhen fires Nigeria to World Cup playoffs. These are the stories you'd find on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Okay,
so let's look at the headlines we have on the front page of Guardian newspaper. The banner headline here says APC consolidates power. Asemba ends PDP's 26-year reign in Enugu State. The story is on page 6 of Guardian newspaper. Other headline says PDP postpones NEC meeting indefinitely. The story is on page 3. How ASU's actions allegedly sabotage FG's true safe word. The story is on page 3 of Guardian newspaper. FG approves new admission reforms, raises tertiary intake to 1 million yearly. Check page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Tinubu to ECOWAS declares stolen mineral resources an international crime. The story is on page 5. IMF Cardoso isolate Nigeria from global uncertainty, raise growth prospect. That's on page 6 of Ghanaian newspaper. Senate 6, repatriation of Nigerian women, children held in Libya prisons. Is on page 7. State businesses embrace $3 billion solar fund as national grid wobbles. Is on page 5 of Ghanaian newspaper. 70% of women on death row in Nigeria are mothers. Study reviews. Check page 4. And the final headline says power plants operating below 40% capacity as grid voltage exceeds limit. These are the headlines we have this very morning on the front pages.
We're starting the conversation already, and we are starting off from Anambra State. Yesterday, the Independent National Electoral Commissioner, the one who is holding place until Joash is confirmed, right? That's May Agbamuchembo. She outlined that she kind of gave updates on the things that have been done in preparations for the Anambra State governorship election. She outlined the commission's schedule for the election, and also gave updates on the schedule for the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections, which are scheduled to hold on 21st of February 2026. The Ekiti governorship election scheduled for June 20, 2026. And the Osun governorship election scheduled for August 8, 2026. But of course, the Anambra State election is the latest because it is just in less than a month from now. It is supposed to hold on the 8th of November, 2025. And so speaking on the Anambra State election, she said the commission has completed 10 out of the 13 key activities, adding that the final activities include the publication of the notice of poll on October 25, the end of campaign period on November 6, and the election proper on November 8. She also did state that all non-sensitive materials had been delivered to the state. She stated that all non-sensitive materials have been delivered to the state and that voter education was already ongoing. She also did say that the commission is committed to keeping strictly to the remaining activities as scheduled in the timetable. And also she said political parties have been called upon to be mindful of the last day of the campaigns and keep strictly to it. So Tony, this is like an update detailing how ready INEC is. All eyes are actually on the commission, hoping that the election in Anambra State come November 8 is going to be a model one. We are looking forward to seeing who eventually appoints the returning officer for that election. Would it come from the table of May Agbamuchembo, or is this going to be something in the jurisdiction of Joash Amopeton, if he is eventually confirmed? By the way, the president has written to the Senate to confirm his appointment, and so fingers are crossed. I recall the last time we spoke about this, we are tinkering with the idea of Joash stepping in before the expiration of Yakubu Mahmoud's tenure, which is November 9. But for now, May is at the helm of affairs. This is what she has said. 10 out of 13 activities already completed. Are the people of Anambra feeling it? Do they know that it's just about 3 things left? End of campaign, the election proper, and the publication for the election.
It's very important you ask these questions. Do the people of Anambra State know that 10 things have been completed according to INEC listing? Are they feeling the frenzy atmosphere that definitely the election is going to hold in Anambra State? I can tell you that many of them don't even know those listing. They don't even know what INEC is talking about. And possibly, not that they are not interested, but they are not grounded in some of those technicalities. If you talk about the 13 or the 10 things INEC has said it has done, one, the first, I remember, is the notice of election, which is published a year to that very election proper. So it's in line with Electoral Act that there shall be a notice for an election, and usually done maybe 360 days to the election, and then that is the first, and then followed by political parties nominating candidates. That is, they nominate candidates, And then we talk about primaries, the time for primaries, and so many other things. So it's important that these things have been done. Yes, there had been publication of election notice, political party primaries and nomination of candidates. That's the second, followed by publication of final list of candidates to that very election. And that should be the number 3 in INEC listing. And then number 4 has to do with campaign period commencement. And then you talk about number 5, the period for withdrawal, substitution of candidates. And then you talk about election officers training and preparation, continuous voter registration and voter register finalization, and publication of notice of poll. This time around, notice where polls will occur, polling units, and also submission of polling agents. And if you look at it, these things have been done. But INEC is saying that they're already close to the election anyway. And then looking at these things that they said they have done, have they done that? The answer is yes, they have done that. I think what is remaining is the last day of campaigning. That will be on Thursday, 12 midnight. That Thursday will be November 6th. And then you have election proper. That is November 8th. These ones, they have not done these ones. Counting and tabulation of votes and declaration of results, which also includes making returns. The return has to do with the person or the party that has been adjudged to have satisfied every requirement of law, where the candidate is elected and then returned as provided in the Electoral Acts and the Constitution. So these are some of the things INEC is trying to remind us. And they are also saying that they have deployed non-sensitive materials. That's what they said in that very consultative meeting. It comes every quarter. First quarter, second quarter. What we saw was the third quarter. And this third quarter will coincide with Anambra election. Because before you are going to talk about the fourth quarter, Anambra election must have come and gone. Are you asked who is going to appoint the returning officer? It is something unknown to even the commission. We have the letter asking the Senate to confirm a Mopetan read yesterday by the Senate President. So how fast they will be on that is also another. Once he is confirmed by the Senate, the next will be sworn in. And there is chance that he could be sworn in before the conduct of Anambra State election. And if that happens, it means that the returning officer for that election will be appointed by Amopiton, while INEC continues with his own exercise on some of the things they have listed they will do. So telling us that they have deployed non-sensitive materials to Anambra State. So what that means that they are ready. And they also say that they are speaking with the security agencies that would see to the conduct of the election to ensure that this election is conducted freely, fairly, with level of transparency, probity as expected. And I would also let INEC to begin to study certain issues. I think what is usually the problem during election of this nature is logistics. They have always had logistic challenges in the previous elections. So how would they be able to solve the problem of logistics as we approach this election? I think it will be part of what they will be looking into. In the last election, yes, August 16 by-election, we saw a situation where logistics were largely improved, but we look at the areas involved, Anambra South and then Onitsha, North One State constituency. That's a very small scope, if you ask me. But we know that very day elections we hold in the 326 wards in Anambra State, 5,720 polling units. So how are you going to solve such logistics problem? The drivers, the ad hoc staff that will man these polling units, 5,720 of them, have they been trained? What is the nature of these people, the security, vehicles that will convey these materials, the sensitive materials, because that's what's going to be deployed on the eve of the election or even on the election day proper. How are these things going to be done to ensure that voters key up appropriately and the election begins when it should be on, like around 8 a.m. in the morning, as we usually say that? So I'm looking at it from that angle. So INEC should tell us, are we going to encounter another logistics problems? And if you look at the non-sensitive materials they have told us they have deployed, whenever you hear non-sensitive materials, they are talking about ballot boxes, voting cubicles, ink pads and stamp, even biro, pens, markers, things like this, strings, rubber bands and envelope, even identification gadgets or tags for officials, even posters and signage materials, chairs, tables, canopies, papers. These are non-sensitive materials. Tampering of these things will not compromise the credibility or the security of the election.
Okay.
These are things they told us they have deployed to Anambra State, but these things are already and always within the custody of the resident electoral commissioners. And if you talk about the sensitive ones, you talk about ballot papers, bimodals, voter accreditation system, that's the BVAS, result sheets, voter register collection and transmission devices and codes. These are the sensitive ones, because if any tampering on these ones will compromise the poll.
Okay, before you come in, just to drop more information about it, because yesterday at that very meeting which they had in Abuja, the rec in Anambra State was in Abuja too, where she gave some update. Then Anambra Police Commissioner, who was represented by ACP Ekulu, was also there to give briefing regarding how police has been making preparations for this very election. And the good thing is that the two stakeholders said that they are ready, that they have been doing all they're supposed to do to ensure that this election is conducted the way it's supposed to be. We're going to believe them by their words, but we would like to see actions other than giving promise, because there's no election we have had in this country that the police and INEC had not assured Nigerians that things were going to be okay, and later we saw some non-compliance with what they have promised. Now let's look at some things I want to point out, because that yesterday, the REC, talking about Dr. Elizabeth Agu, he said that Anambra has 2.8 million registered voters, which we know INEC has said that before. But she talked about those who were registered recently. Before the by-elections, there was a voter registration in Anambra State, and at the end of the day, we were able to add about 140,000 plus to the register. So she said that by the end of this very week, that those who registered during that period, that they are going to make their voter cards ready. So if you registered during that very time, you should get ready that once you hear, come and pick up your PVC, you should be able to go and pick it up and use it for this very election. She also said that they have kept 978 BVAS machine. No, they had kept them in reserve, outside the ones that have been designated to be used for this election. Like Tony mentioned, that we have 5,720 polling units, and from what I know, that in most elections INEC do deploy like 1 or 2 per polling unit. So in that very case, outside the ones they have designated that they're going to deploy, they now have like this naira something. In case anyone malfunctions, they will be able to go to reserve and get and replace. Somebody can say a good plan, but aside having this in reserve, the ad hoc staff who are going to make use of the beavers, are they well trained? Because we have discovered that sometimes there is nothing wrong with the beavers. It's about the capacity of the person who is operating it. If that person does not have good capacity or doesn't know how to operate it, the machine begins to malfunction, and in that very case, that it can get people worked up. Now, she also said that on the election day, that polling is going to open by 8:30 and is going to close by 2:30. But she added that anybody who had been on queue before 2:30, of course, you are going to be allowed for you to vote. She said that even if the people who are online already, even if it means that it's going to continue till 6, that as long as you have been on that very line, you are going to be allowed to vote. Then she talked about the sensitive materials. She said that she's going to be at the central bank to ensure that things are well deployed and nobody gets to tamper with anything. Then she also mentioned the ballot papers and the result sheet. She said that there are units specific. So that simply means you cannot take ballot paper meant for polling unit A and go to B. Quite interesting. But what we want to see is that on that election day, let all these things translate into action. Let them translate into that thing that can help us to rebuild the confidence in the electoral system. Because as it stands now, unless more many Nigerians are disillusioned about the election. And the only way we can begin to boost their confidence again in the system is that this election we have now at hand, which is going to come in just 24 days now, by that very day, INEC should be able to do something different from what it has been, so that we'll be able to get people to begin to believe in the system again. Because even now, when she was speaking yesterday, she said that it's not becoming that on the election day, people go for their businesses, they go for their private businesses without going to go and vote. But the issue is that these people have been disappointed several times. That's why anything humanly possible that they can do to ensure that this election goes according to plan and is credible enough, that's the only way they can rebuild that very declining trust people have in the system, other than mere rhetorics. Then for the police, we expect a whole lot from police, because INEC is going to do its own part, but the police has a whole lot to do. Because on the election day, sometimes you get to see people who are getting involved in malpractices, and you call on policemen who are there, and then they can't even do anything, and you keep on wondering, okay, why are they deployed for this very activity? So they need to up their game and ensure that this very assignment given to them, they should not let people down. Then on the other side, Tony, I've been wondering, 24 days to election, and not the kind of cause, like we can't feel anything. We can't feel anything anywhere. The media is not charged. When I say charged, the media is not saturated in terms of having this very candidate to come and explain to Nigerians or explain to people of Anambra State what they plan to do. And many of them, even when you call them for engagement, they run away. Yesterday, I learned that there was an engagement meant for the frontline candidate, in quote, with members of their academics in Anambra State at UNISEC. Only one person volunteered, not only one person accepted to be there, and he was there and he had engagement with them. I'm talking about the YPP candidate. He had engagement with them at the UNISEC. From what I gathered, they said about 5 persons were given the invitation to come, and only one person responded saying, okay, I'm going to be available. Others did not respond. So does it mean that these people don't want to be questioned on their mission to govern people of Anambra State? Let's start from there.
Just like I said, if you look at this election, it doesn't look competitive. For me, it does not appear to be competitive. It appears to be one-sided, and that is why some of the things you have hinted or some of the things you have itemized that are lacking are quite obvious. If you see an election whereby you may not fathom by sitting down who is going to be the winner, you will see every candidate doing what he should do by ensuring that all the I's are dotted, the T's crossed. But right now it seems that I don't know. But when you talk about questioning these candidates, we know very well we've talked about the issue of electoral debate, where we are calling on the National Assembly to ensure that the new amendment will incorporate a debate, and there should be a debate, either society or debate council, both at the national and the state level, where they come up with this debate, and where the media will key in and extract whatever message these candidates or whatever promise they're making to the people. Because some of these candidates will tell you how many of these debates would they attend to. This person is calling, that person is calling, that person is calling. And many people calling at the same time. So there's no organization. If we have such amendment in our law, we have a central debate council that is statutorily powered to organize and conduct debate, and where the candidate involved must attend. And sickness should not be an exception. If a candidate is sick, it could be postponed to ensure that the candidate has the time to come. Or even if the person did not join others during the debate, they may be able to conduct his own separately. So we must have such culture. What we have, I've seen different groups, organizations calling for debate for the same set of candidates. So if this association is calling, that association is calling, many associations calling for the same time. So these candidates will tell you that I have just finished attending this one, and then why would I? So there is no organization, that is one. We must have that in our law. And then you also raise the important issues of both the beavers. I have said it many times. Our beavers, the way it functions now, I don't know if it has the capacity to function offline.
But we are told it's not going to be having any hitches this time.
No, forget what you're being told. Most times, not everything we are told before election, we do see during and after the election.
I agree.
So it's not about what we are told. We are concerned about taking certain precautionary measures.
Then do we verify
to ensure that these things?
I
think INEC is positioning IVED to be an improvement on beavers, but it's not official anyway. They are telling us that IVED, some of these issue of accreditations, we usually encounter facial recognition or fingerprints, some of the things that IVED has a better technology, a better software, but we are still calling for electronic voting, electronic collation, electronic transmission is part of the reforms and amendments we are calling for. I'm happy that I heard that we'll be having new Electoral Act by December. How fast that will be, I don't know, but would the new Electoral Act, which we have been promised that will be out by December, would it also address certain concerns and some of the things and reform many people have forwarded? And the bigger one will be looking at for will be where the president will not have hand in appointing INEC chairman, resident electoral commissioners for the 36 state and FCT and the 12 national commissioners. That's the one we are hoping. Once we achieve that, we know that we have made a milestone in our reforms. So where the president becomes just as every other party without having any advantage going into the pool proper. So that is what we are calling for. But for Anambra State, yes, the election will come and go. I've always said you have to come out and vote. You have to come out and vote. But we just have 24 days to the election. And it is also surprising and disappointing that INEC has not even issued voters card to those who registered in the last registration exercise. They should be having their voters cards as we speak now. At most, they can find means of deploying this to different town unions. And there was a time something of such nature was done. They call the PGs. They look at those registrations, look at the towns, and they call the PGs. And they usually do this by the time those who are expected to come and collect these PVCs do not come up. And we must also fashion a way that you can vote without the PVC, because we are in a computer age. It's not must that you must.
Because this thing you just mentioned now, because I was even thinking about it, that we might want to raise this because
since you've already registered,
INEC needs to clarify whether it's going to be allowed. We know that in the law now, what the law recognizes is that you must be verified with your PBC before you will be allowed to vote. That's what the law recognizes. But we have seen elections where people who can be recognized by the virtue of who they are, they are allowed to vote. We have seen that even in the last by-election, some persons were allowed to vote with their temporary slips. So INEC should be now come out to be categorical about this, if it's going to be allowed during a number election or not, or if they want to just to stick to what the law says as it stands now.
I think it has to do with issue of verification. Yes, the law says you present your PVC, permanent voters cards, to aid the verification. The idea of PVC is to aid the verification. But we see situations you have voter register. This day I saw in the last by-election, the voter registers I saw, they have pictures of those voters on that register. So immediately I came, I saw my picture. In fact, the person who was actually manning the register look at my picture and say, oh, that's you. And even outside that, the PVC we brought, where your fingerprint will match the one already stored in the system. Because if it does not match, you know that without PVC, that is the permanent voter card, once you're able to spot yourself at that voter register, because the picture is there,
you can see, yeah.
You know what? The only thing the voter register does is that it helps you with the number, so that you can know the page you are going to turn. Because the register may be voluminous, And if the person walks in, the person will start looking at the register from the first page or to the last page. Or the person, if you drop your name, the person may use alphabetical order. Situations where you don't know your polling units, because sometimes the PVC contains some of this information, but if you know certain informations, it will also help in identification and eventual voting. So PVC, its importance is becoming more like being eliminated. So we should have a proper and then advanced amendment where the PVC may not necessarily be needed.
As long as the voter has been registered.
Yes, it becomes an optional because it does not do the work of beavers, which does the proper verification.
All right. So the advancement is what we look forward to. We keep our fingers crossed, hoping that by December, when this new reform is out, some of the things that we have hoped for a better electoral process in Nigeria would be itemized. We take a break at this point, attend to some commercials. Keep it locked when we come back. We'll be taking the trip down to Enugu State to keep you updated with what happened yesterday.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region. Where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Uwe izughị oke o, mana dịka nwa afọ Naija nwoke maọbụ nwaanyị Igbo ugbu a, ị kwesịrị ime onye na-akpọ gị n'ekwentị. Ohere na-abịa so naanị otu ugboro, mana nke bụ ezigbo ajụjụ dị na ya bụ ị ga-adịkwa na njikere. Ekwekwala ka ohere ọzọ ganarị. Lee anya otu kọlụ ziri ezi nwere ike ịgbanwe ndụ gị. Tinye Truecaller app n'ekwentị gị tata, mara onye na-akpọ gị, hụ na ịtụfughị ohere inweta otu kọlụ ahụ nwere ike ịgbanwe ihe niile. Truecaller, za ezigbo oku.
Solutions.
One man day, a man with the world sabi, a man with Nigerians sabi, a man with Indianambra sabi. Now a man now man of the people. We get compassion, we dey feel the people. Man we trust and we get experience. Man we don't determine to do good for him people. That man now Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, CFR, Oluwatuegu, Odenubuagwata no Rumba. He don't change everywhere and everything for Anambra with him helele programs and projects, free education, free antenatal and free delivery services, youth employment in Yafu, better road network plus urban regeneration, security. Me and my family don't they close our two eyes they sleep now. This not the legacy of man. We get vision. We carry the survival and progress of him people put for head. No prize amo. Vote the Soludo Ibezim ticket on November 8, 2025. Vote for continuity and more development. Make the solution continue. Abga Onyaga na one layer. Vote Akuko.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it on the Tozialo. Wendy's bread, Mama, Papa, they like Wendy's bread, not kitchen and do. Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Ninta. Wendy's bread, get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread, the champion.
Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
On the 19th of October, this month of spreading and possession, we're going to be having BBMS Blessings for Business and Miracle Service. Glory! Some years ago, I was having this program every month, and millionaires multiply. Blessings came upon businesses, came upon homes, came upon families. When we had the first series of BBMS, it was everyone a millionaire, every millionaire a billionaire. Now, it's everyone a billionaire, and every billionaire a trillionaire. Wherever you're hearing my voice right now, 19th of October, come here. Christ Embassy Mega Auditorium, 66 Limca Road, Old Road, or Onitsha, Anambra State. Don't miss it. Now, for further inquiries, call us on our telephone number 070-3300-4456. Praise God.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, those were the actual words of Governor Peter Mbah yesterday when he defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. He said a couple of things yesterday, Tony. Talked about putting an end to fragmented politics in the Southeast and, of course, a move for the Southeast to tap into the opportunities at the center. For starters, this move is one that has been anticipated from the very moment the APC structure in Enugu State was collapsed. We already knew what was coming. It happened with Delta State when Oberewo rejoined the APC. It happened in some other parts of the country. And Enugu has most recently joined the APC fold, leaving only Abia and Anambra, Southeast states outside of the APC. So the majority in the APC now, when he talked about the Southeast forging a connection with the center, what did you make of that, especially when there are still parties, Southeastern states, under other parties?
I remember during the 1999, the entire Southeast was under PDP. Anambra, Abia, Enugu, Imo. Under Anambra, we had Dr. Chinwokem Baduleju. Imo, Achiku Denwa. Abia, Ojuzakalo. Enugu Chimaroke Namani, and Ebony Sam Ebu. These were the governors
of the Southeast.
Of the South. They were all from PDP as at that time, and they were all connected to the center because PDP at that time was the ruling party. But you asked, being connected to the center, how did it shape governance in Southeast?
The Southeast, and how did it even pan out in terms of development?
I have always said that connectivity to the center is not a measure, it's not a yardstick for true dividends of democracy to come to a state. Is not a yardstick. We've seen this. There was a time all of them were in PDP. We saw federal rules dilapidated. We saw quite a lot of things not going well for the state. We saw implosions, chaos, cantankerousness, and a lot of things, disruptions in most states. So they have all left PDP now. They're all moving to APC. And you ask, what is the difference between APC and PDP? The same people that were in PDP, they are the same people in APC, just with a little difference, with few people that have been in opposition for a very long time, like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that have been in opposition from 1999 to date. So the other members of PDP, 97% of members of APC, they all migrated from PDP. What do you know what that means? 97%. That is wholesomeness. So with that alone, we say the present APC is the old PDP, having established that 97% of composition of those in APC as we speak today, they are former members of PDP. So it is safe to say they are the same thing. So for me, it is not a whimsical decision, this and that. Of course, you had wanted better political alignment. Yes, I remember the threat you made that if Jude Dokoye is not recognized as the Southeast, so that he said those things that Wike in his way was trying to poke you to make sure you get into APC, and he has achieved that. And what Wike does is he will put a problem in your state, and apart from putting a problem in your state, he will look at those things you are requesting from PDP. He blocks those things you are requesting from PDP just to trigger you to move to APC, and exactly what he did to Peter Mba, and Peter Mba fell for it. Could Peter Mba have gone to maybe PDP? He is in PDP. Could he have gone to Labour? The answer is no. He couldn't have gone to ADC. As we speak now, ADC has no governor. Could he have gone to ABGA? Yes, he could have gone to ABGA. And he will have a brother governor in the Southeast. See, I am so much interested in a situation whereby you will remain in a particular party, use that party to negotiate power. Yes, it's much more better than all of us being in that party. We've seen that in 1979, during the time of MPN and MPP. You can't imagine that Godwin Umezuoke became Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. Remember, he was of MPP, a Speaker for MPN, led federal government alliance. You may be in your party, have a political alliance. It's done everywhere. I think that's what ABGA is doing now. For them, it does not necessarily mean joining APC in their party. Stay in your own party, negotiate power, negotiate appointments, negotiate certain things, and you work together in alliance. The idea is, it also gives that sense of democracy, because from the look of things, everything seems to be tilting towards one party system. And if they all assemble in that party, before you know it, there will be implosion, there will be chaos, there will be cantankerousness. Exactly what happened in PDP. And for now, many of them are going there for the next election. Peter Mba has looked around and felt that it will be very difficult to win election with PDP. Yes, that's true. We saw Rocha Sokorosha, who joined ABGA and won election under ABGA in Imo State. What did he do? He joined forces with APC. In fact, he carried that ABGA mandate to APC. And today, where is Rocha Sokorosha? And we can go on and tell you quite a lot of things about these people. And one thing about interest is that it is dynamic. And that's why there's never been a time you have a political enemies that is so long in time. What happens is alignment and realignment of interest, and whenever interest aligns, they become friends. Politicians have always said they are all the same, but there are those who have this empathy for the people. Few of them, they are whatever platform they find themselves, what they care about is how to develop. But how many are they in this country? So, and one thing about APC, the elites, that is the politicians, they want to throw the people into that very party. But the people deeply do not accept this party.
So, Tony,
Southeast.
Let me come in here because each time politicians want to do what interests them, they will find a way to, make it as if it's about the people. And the one thing we know about them is that once their interests are protected, of course they are good. If you look at the speech that was delivered by the governor of Enugu State yesterday, fantastic speech. He talked about how being with the center is going to help his government to have certain kinds of privileges. And we said, okay, that's good. If you listen to the vice president, Kashin Shetima, who was in Enugu yesterday, he said that he believes that with the entry of Governor Peter Mbai into APC in Enugu State, that the Southeast are beginning to, or the Igbos are beginning to streamline, are beginning to align with the center, and he believed that they are going to be treated fairly. And now, where I'm going to is, in this whole thing that happened in Enugu State, what is in there for the people of Enugu State and also for Southeast? That's number one question. Number two question is this. Each time we talk about if you align with the center, you are going to get this, get that, get this, get that. Let's look at Ebonyi State and Imo State in the Southeast who have been with the APC for this very while. Is there any privilege they have enjoyed outside what accrues to any other state in the Southeast?
There's no privilege they have enjoyed outside what is accruable.
So what you're saying basically is that this whole idea of tapping to the center and attracting better fortunes for the Southeast is all a facade.
Is a host, political host. For me, they want to be where decisions are made according to them, because there are things discussed at the APC Governors Forum that it may not be discussed during the Nigerian Governors Forum. Remember, you have Nigerian Governor Forums. Political parties have their own Governors Forum. So I think basically the decisions reached at the Governors Forum APC has to do with the party.
Do you feel we are going closer to a one-party system?
I don't think we are closer to one-party system, but it appears we still have states under Labour, under GA, PDP, still have states, but then we are aware that many of them are making grounds for them to move. Just like I said earlier on, Bayelsa will join. Once Bayelsa is done, River State will follow. Once River State is done, I think even Osun State, Adeleke has made attempts to join APC, but it was rebuffed because of the next election. He was asked, win this election and join us.
All right, Tony, let's look at what happened at the Abuja High Court yesterday, Federal High Court Abuja yesterday.
Okay.
The PDP national chairman and the PDP's legal advisor were caught in a mini squabble. Who would stand for the PDP in court? They could not decide on who is going to represent the party, and so their case was consequently adjourned to tomorrow, Thursday, the 16th of October. And so this has sort of exposed the kind of would I call it the depth of the decay in the PDP. And so I am curious to find out what you think about this. When you saw those videos making rounds, how did you feel?
It's very, very disappointing.
What's your interpretation? Because a lot of interpretations.
No, it's appalling. It's appalling. I think there is a crack in PDP, and there had always been this crack, and these things are manifesting. They are coming out so openly. So we saw that yesterday in the court, and it was a case just like we mentioned here. Some group of people trying to stop the national convention the PDP has slated for December, but in doing so, PDP national chairman, the national chairman of PDP, Damagun, had written to Uche Chris, SAN, to be the counsel for the PDP for that very case. But trust Ajibade could not take it. And he found that his office is being usurped by the national chairman. And then he made it known to the national chairman that you cannot usurp my office. So it happens that, according to him, issues of litigations, conducting defense, whatever it is for the party, it is something institutional in the PDP constitution. Article 42 of the PDP constitution, as amended in 2017, says that the national legal advisor shall advise the party on all legal matters. In fact, under the same Article 42, the national legal advisor is given the power to conduct all litigation and prosecute and defend actions on behalf of the party, including its organs and officials, insofar as the subject of the litigation affects the interest of the party. And also nobody other than the national legal advisor has the competence to engage external solicitors to act for the party unless instructed by him. There was a great conflict of this provision under Article 42 of the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party, and exactly what it rose up. But he could have challenged this, not necessarily before the court. I'm aware that the court has also sat on a number of cases. This is not the first time we have had this issue between the national chairman of a political party and the national legal advisor. I can bet you, in fact, there was such a case in River State, and the court ruled that the state legal advisor has the right to appoint legal counsel for the party in state level matters. It happened in PDP River State, and the court based that judgment based on PDP constitution. So, having known that, what happened in this case is the Magon being overreaching. Why wouldn't he consult the national legal advisor before appointing Chief Chris Uche? Remember, Chief Chris Uche was the chief legal counsel to Atiku Abubakar when Atiku was defending or trying to challenge the mandate of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The song "On Your Mandate We Shall Stand" seems to become the national anthem. They were singing that yesterday. I don't know, immediately after the national anthem, they will now sing "On Your Mandate We Shall Stand. On your mandate we shall stand. On your mandate, on your mandate, on your mandate we shall stand." I think it was Wike that really released this very chorus. And then there's a way Wike dances this chorus. But that's by the way anyway. But I'm just saying that it seems to be the next national anthem. And then it aligns with what Chisom asked earlier on. Are we tilting? Are we getting closer to one party state? When you hear "On your mandate we shall stand," coming either before the national anthem or after the national anthem, that tells a lot. So, for me, what happened in court yesterday was very, very egregious. PDP is dancing naked, and I'm aware that even that Ajibade is not in good terms with Wike camp. Ajibade is still believing that Damagun is working for Wike. From every corner, from every angle, he feels that forget all these optics, that whatever Damagun is doing is purely cosmetic, that is still working for Wike. That's why he's insisting that he will bring the solicitors, that we challenge those who have come to stop the national convention, not Damagun, because Damagun may bring those who are feeble and instruct them, and they will scuttle this convention. And remember, the convention would also be, it seems to be an elective convention. So Damagun may not want the convention in his own personal interest, but Ajibade is fighting to make sure that the convention holds, and that's why he has insisted that he should bring the lawyers that will defend the party against those three who are taking the party to court to stop the convention. Trust James Omotosho of the Federal High Court. He looked at them, but he said, "You know what? Go and settle this internal dispute." But he allowed for Damagun to be a rejoinder to the suit, because the suit was challenging PDP and Damagun was not even mentioned in the suit. So he also pleaded for the leave of the court to be joined in that suit as one of the defendants, and the other people that also pleaded for the leave of the court to be joined as defendant because they have an interest, which they explained to the court, but the court allowed that. So that's what happened yesterday.
So fingers crossed, we see where it leaves to PDP tomorrow. The national convention is supposed to hold in Ibadan on the 15th and 16th of December, and this entire move to scuttle it has been given several interpretations. And of course, what happened yesterday, the persons who believe that Damagun is behind the death of the PDP also believe that all of the drama yesterday was orchestrated to further bury
definitely
the PDP.
You are not speaking as a lawyer, which the requirement entry did not allow you to be.
Speaking about entry requirements, yesterday a couple of changes were made to would I call it the academic qualifications, academic requirements now, that's the word, to enter into tertiary institutions in Nigeria. So the federal government actually did approve a comprehensive reform of admission and entry requirements. And these include, first, the removal of mathematics from being a course subject for art students. When I saw this one, Tony, like you said earlier, Ipemio, but then also the ministry stated that these policies are supposed to represent a major stride to promote or in promoting inclusivity and driving national development through equitable education opportunities. And so, according to the minister, speaking about Dr. Tunji Alausa, while over 2 million candidates sit for the UTME annually, only about 700,000 secure admission. And so now the gap, the room for admission has been opened up to 1 million. So every year, at least 1 million students are allowed to be admitted into different tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Also, a minimum of 5 credit passes for relevant subjects, including English language, in not more than 2 sittings is compulsory. But mathematics remains compulsory only for science, tech, and social sciences. Art students are now removed from the whole compulsion of passing mathematics. For polytechnics, we have a minimum of 4 credit passes in relevant subjects, including English language for non-science courses and mathematics for science-related courses. And all of these things are supposed to help make the admission processes into Nigerian tertiary institutions more seamless. There are a lot of them actually, but I am not going to start listing them one after the other, especially since we are totally out of time. But Tony, also, the federal government, the House, speaking about the Federal House of Representatives, has moved in also to bridge the gap between ASU and the federal government so they can get to, would I call it a reasonable conclusion so that academic activities are not affected in the country. What do you make of this recent move, and do you see any light at the end of this tunnel?
I think let's start with one of entry requirements to study arts in any Nigerian university. You know why the word arts? Many of us may not even know that the term arts come from the old European university system, which divided learning into 2 broad areas. Arts, dealing with human thought, culture, and expression. When you talk about language, philosophy, literature, history, politics, religion, communication, and also science, which deals with nation, numbers, and also experimentation. Having said this, yes, we agree with the government that mathematics is not, maybe shouldn't be a compulsory subject for entry into arts related courses. If you're studying law, if you want to study law, if you want to study history, if you want to study theater arts, if you want to study languages, religion, if you want to study communication, some of these things are not actually what it should be. Issue of numeracy. Yes, you should have basic numeracy, because we know that the world we live today, we live in numbers. This is the world of data. And you cannot talk about data when you try to extricate maths, numbers, addition, subtraction, division. You need those things. We need them. No matter what you study, if you are studying theater arts, you need those things. At least you're able to say percentage of things. You'll be able to cover, keeping records. These things are important. But as a compulsory requirement or entry requirement for any study in law, I think government got it right. But I would have also suggested, instead of saying that it should not be part of the requirement, they could bring it down to D7 or E8. But not when you should have F in mathematics. No, you should have D7, E8. You may not need to have,
but must not compulsorily a credit.
Yes, that's what I think government should have done in that area. You can't just remove numeracy from our way of life completely. So it also aligns with what is obtainable in Canada, UK, US, because in those climes you don't need mathematics. Maybe they call it A level, advanced level, for you to get entry or for you to study all those things. So you don't need them. So it's also, aligning with the global practice. But just like I said, they should also revisit it, not removing it completely, but bringing it down to D7 or E8, because we need addition, subtraction, percentage in our daily lives.
I tell you what, I have just figured out that this is about UTME, and not WASI. So this is what I just remembered. For art students before now, they didn't have to write mathematics in UTME. So does this mean that this is for WASE? for WAEC certificates that our students no longer need to compulsorily pass mathematics so that things don't get mixed up?
I think it's generally, if you look at it, if you want to write UTME, because this is a policy, if you want to study law, you will not be allowed to take mathematics.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Sorry, let me come in here because as it is now, if you are applying for law in any university, you're not going to sit for mathematics at your UTME.
Exactly my point. That means that this is for WASE.
But when you want to get an admission,
O level,
for you to do your clearance and be admitted into a certain university, you must have credit pass in your mathematics
and English.
In fact, if you go to some schools, they will insist that you must have it. There's some schools
there are some schools that do not even exist.
My schools might just play down on it.
Yeah, some schools.
If you have universities. If you have the mathematics and you want to study law, they might admit you. Yeah, but some schools will insist. But from what they're saying now is this: you must have this credit pass in your O level. No, you must not have credit pass in your O level mathematics. That's what for you to gain admission into arts. That's what I'm saying.
But for science, social science, remember, if you are talking about arts, you're also talking about humanities, because they're all part. All right,
let's quickly take a break. Attend to a commercial, some commercials, not even a commercial. When we come back, we'd open up the phone lines, and of course, in the midst of that conversation, Tony, you'd probably also react to the federal government, the legislative arm trying to interface between the federal government and ASU. Do stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
ụmụ Chineke cherekwanụ n'ihi na ihe ahụ ị na-achọ n'ukolu ọ nwụchiela gị n'ụkwụ. Nke ugbu a bụkwa Ukpo City White Crusade site n'obiọma ndị Ukpo Christian Association. Nke a bụkwa pụrụ iche n'ihi na mgbanwe nnwere onwe nzọpụta ga-adịkwa live. Isiokwu ọgbakọ crusade a bụkwa The Lord He is God. Onye ozi Chukwu etere mmanụ pụrụ iche Apostle Johnson Suleman ga-awụchikwa live n'Ukpo wee totuo ike nke Chineke n'ụdị pụrụ iche. Ndị ọbụla betere mmanụ Ambassador Chinyere Udoma nakwa Minista Edwin Alex ga-anọkwa live n'oge a. Ọgbakọ crusade a ga-akpọrọ n'ụbọchị Tuesday mkpụrụ ụbọchị 28 nke ọnwa Ọktoba afọ anyị nọ n'ime ya n'elekere 4 nke uhuruchi kpọmkwem, nakwa n'ụbọchị Wednesday mkpụrụ ụbọchị 29 nke ọnwa Ọktoba n'elekere 8 nke ụtụtụ nakwa n'elekere 4 nke uhuruchi. Ogige Walter Eze Memorial Secondary School a na-akpọbu Boys Secondary School Ukpo na ncherịta iru All Saints Anglican Church Ukpo n'ime kansụl dị nke Ọfịa nke Anambra Steeti. A ga-enwekwa ụgbọala ga-ebu ndị mmadụ n'efu n'oge a. Maka ihe ndị ọzọ ị ga-achọ ịmata, kpọọ akara ekwentị ndị a 09039521048 maọbụ 08062978399. Ekwela ka akọrọ bịa akara maka crusade a, gwazikwa ndị ya duno.
APGA APGA, State Chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, Anambra, Barrister Chief Ifatu Obiokoye, the Chairman of APGA, Idemili North, Chief Lemi Ekwo, the Chairman of Idemili North Local Government Council, Chief Stanley Walker, the Chairman of APGA Guba Campaign Committee of Idemili North, Chief Obi Idemobi, the Chairman of the Idemili North Mega Rally Planning Committee, Honorable Barrister Raf Nabife, members of the Anambra State ESCO of Idemili North Extraction, all major stakeholders, ward chairmen, and members of the APGA Idemili North cordially invite the general public to the Idemili North Mega Campaign Rally for the endorsement of Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo for second tenure. Date Wednesday the 15th of October 2025. Venue St. Alphonsus Catholic Church and Longmpo Umoji Road near Ekempo. Time 10 a.m. Come, let's support Okunyelife, Oluwatuegwu. The people of Idemili North are speaking in one voice. Soludo were 4 more years.
Transition to glory. The Akaneme family of Ihuama Ujaliwe village, Umona, Agwata local government area, announces the death of their son, husband, father, Honorable Okechukwu Akaneme Ugunya, who died on Friday, July 11, 2025. Funeral arrangements, Wednesday, October 15, 2025. Vigil Mass at his country home, Ojaliwe village, Umona, Agwata local government area, time 5 p.m. Thursday, October 16, 2025. Body leaves Apex Mortuary, Ibuku at 7 a.m. for lying in state at his country home, Umwana. Funeral Mass at St. Maria Goretti Catholic Church, Umwana, Agwata local government area, 10 a.m. Interment at Ojaliwe village, Umwana, follows immediately after the funeral mass. Sunday, October 19, 2025. Outing and Thanksgiving Mass at St. Maria Goretti Catholic Church, Omwana. Time, 9 a.m. May his soul rest peacefully in the Lord. Signed, Kirian Kosisochukwu Akaneme's son. This is proudly supported by Cyril's Eta Consult.
If home had a heartbeat, would you hear it? We hear it in calls across oceans, in plans that come alive at home. Journeys begin, doors open, arms widen, home welcomes its all. Morning brings Ofala, a day of blessing, renewal, and new beginnings. What brings us together? What builds our resilience? Ofala Festival 2025, October 17 to 18, in collaboration with Glow, supported by Best Gin, Hero, Origin, Udala Radio, and Zenith Bank. Join us for an unforgettable celebration of our culture, unity, and perseverance. Visit ofala.org.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
And the time is now. You can join the conversation 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. The conversation has been around the readiness of INEC to conduct an election in Anambra State. Speaking about the Anambra gubernatorial election scheduled for November 8, 2025, INEC says it is ready. 10 items out of the 13 items marked green. Fingers crossed to see how it eventually pans out. And of course, more updates are going to be released in the coming days. And we went over to Enugu State, where the state governor, Mr. Peter Mba, collapsed his structure in the PDP to enter the APC. He moved with everything he's got, ending a 26-year reign of the PDP in Enugu State. And of course, you can put a call across to 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Let's hear what you have to say. Hello, good morning. Are you there?
Good morning, my honorable speaker, Tony Orisambeti.
Good morning.
My name is Michael Dubret, calling from the commercial city of Onitsha.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning. All right, thank you very much for coming on board. Well, let me check on the headline about Governor Gwanya, from APC to people from PDP to APC yesterday. Well, to be honest, other states in this south is not going to be left out. I know, honorable speaker, you may sideline it, you may be thinking that Africa or even Labour will not move to APC. Definitely they will move. Time will tell. So let us not sideline it. We know that APC is a moving party, complete, and everybody wants success for his political ambition, and that is what they are looking for. Looking about making Ebonyi State, what is it called, Igbo State, what they have gained in all these states that they have brought it to it. The good days are still coming. You have to join the winning party. Without winning party, you are going nowhere. So I think Africa is just in making waves in Anambra State only, and also Labour Party in Abia State. Very soon, it's not going to be too long. those two states will log into APC, and it is a moving party. So we should not be let us sideline it. So it's going to happen, and it must surely happen, no matter what happens. Good morning, and have a nice day.
Have a good day too. Let's hear what you have to say. 08032216973, 08038276694. Hello, good morning. Are you there?
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Peter, good morning to you.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Franklin, good morning. I want to say, or start by saying, there was a statement made by Franklin during his intro. It's like he made that statement in passing because it didn't form the major topic this morning. But what happened in Enugu yesterday, where the former National Secretary made a revelation that another state in South East will be joining APC. I was expecting that that statement would have been thoroughly investigated to unravel how that would be possible. But I think something happened some time ago where a governor here was quoted to have said that progressive parties are progressing together. I don't know what that was said. Because when Franklin was trying to elaborate on that, he said that the two states, the Southeast, that is for other party is Abia State and Anambra State. And going by political calculation, we can agree that Abia State, going by what is happening there, the people of Abia is standing solidly behind the governor because of what he's doing. Then, what happened to the other states, where the governor has said the progressive party is progressing together? I don't know what happened then, like I said earlier. I think we need to sit down and tell our actors that we need strong proposition to make a good democratic state. It's very, very important. Having said that, I will say this, then I leave. Because what happened in Enugu yesterday is a kind of, it's provoking me as a person. Not for party, but for our democracy. When Mba was declared as the winner of that, election 2023, the electoral officer that declared him a winner said, Mba of BDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner. Mba of BDP. Is that not a kidnap of the party? Is that not a robbery? I don't know. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Let's hear what you have to say. 0803-221-6973. Franklin, he's asking that a thorough investigation is done. I think we just keep our fingers crossed. When somebody moves, we see that he has moved. Shikina, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Let's hear you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Concerning the governor, for me, until we start to remove a motion and whatever policy, we continue crying foul. But I listened to what the other time. He told the whole world that even the president is the friends, and after policy, after election, they all become friends. I always said that political parties like a vehicle that enter you to where you want to, and that you belong to a particular party does remove you from being a good person. Because I have said it that there was a time PPP was not informed that the priest was formed as a human being. So it's not all about whether I feel blah blah blah. since we are Nigerian and black the party keep on growing bigger. Doesn't remove them from making white. So let us forget about the party. Let us use this participation. Because as far as I'm concerned, Sovanamba is formed massively in them. So for him to join APC, I don't think he will obtain something whatever he wants. So we complain, all those complaints are not helpful. Let us join the trend, join the moving trend. Even if the only thing is that let us hold our leaders accountable. It's not about complaining. There are people who are in or left and not performing, and they don't want to. What we know is that whether you don't go to APC, don't go to
Hello.
Thank you.
Okay, we have to let you go at this point. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. Don't forget, we're also live on Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Please
morning,
go ahead. We can
sister.
hear you.
Good morning, my speaker, Johnny Becker.
You're welcome.
And Franklin. This is the voice of Honorable Richie Sokoye from our ancient kingdom. My speaker, in fact, all the defection we are witnessing here this time is not for the interest of the people, but the interest of the governors who are the victims. But they will attribute that they are doing it for the interest of the people, not at all. Because you cannot tell me that Soludo, who is in Africa, are not performing more than a hope of the man. Even the people will have called and said that them that have started being in APC, they benefit nothing. This is the truth here. But let me make it clear. If this president reduce hunger in this Nigeria before the election, nobody will tamper to try to go there. He will win outright. But another thing I want to say here, let me say it as I view it in me, that Nigeria is trying to divide into ADC, being Northern Party. This APC, Tatana, is what I saw, I witnessed in this, I see that will happen in future. But if Tinubu perform very well, we are heading towards one party system and practice speaking. Thank you, my speaker. I'm done.
Thank you for your contribution. We're live on Facebook. You can drop your comment right under the post or the video. We can also take a few more calls before we go over to Facebook. But before then, we'd like to let you know we are actually very happy about this, because I think this is the first time that we are, since the inception of Udala Radio 104.7 FM, this is the first Ofala that is going to be happening, and we are part of this year's Ofala as a sponsor. So we're going to be bringing you coverage of everything happening at this year's Ofala. The Ofala of Onitsha, the Ofala Festival, which is going to be happening. The Ofala is going to be happening on the 17th, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
17th.
It's a 2-day thing, because we are going to be talking about the Orese Art Exhibition opening ceremony, which is going to be happening on Wednesday by 3 p.m. There is also going to be the Ofala Youth Carnival, which is going to be happening on Thursday by 7 a.m. And also the ceremonial Iru Ofala is going to be happening on Friday by 9 a.m. And the ceremonial Azu Ofala, which would happen on Saturday by 10 a.m. We're going to be covering everything. So wherever it is you are in the world, we're going to be streaming everything live. You can listen on air, and you can also follow up on social media. And this means that you are not going to miss out on this year's Ofala. All you need to do is tune into Udala Radio 104.7 FM or stay locked on our social media handles.
Yeah, definitely, because when you talk about the Ofala Festival of Onitsha, which is one of the most prestigious and culturally significant festivals in Igbo land, is celebrated annually by the Onitsha kingdom. And one thing about Ofala is, that name Ofala, it derives from the Igbo expression Ije Ofala, which means the authority of the ruler or the ruler's emergence. And the festival marks the end of the Obi's annual retreat in Yupununo. But then, all the same, for those who love history, it's something that gained prominence under Obi James Okosi II, who ruled from 1921 down to 1961. And then it was something formalized as an annual public celebration of the throne. I remember subsequent monarchs like the Obi Ofala Okabwe and even Obi Nemeka Achebe, His Majesty Igwe Nemeka Achebe. They further modernized and internationalized it, and then institutionalized it. So it's going to be a very big one, and then it's something the world is waiting for. What are you also doing? You have to come or 17th of October.
Actually, also 17th.
And so many activities.
Yeah, so many activities starting from today. All right, again, where the art exhibition, which is going to happen by 3 p.m. What are Wednesday now?
Today is Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday. Then Thursday, there's going to be the youth carnival for the Ofala. It will start by 7 a.m. So a lot of colorful things are going to be happening tomorrow, and our social media would bear witness to that. And of course, here live on air, we're going to be streaming. On Friday, there's going to be the Ofala.
Yeah, definitely.
And that one is going to start by 9 a.m. Then Saturday, 10 a.m., the Azofala will start.
Definitely. That's going to be culture in HL6.
Okay.
So it's gonna be.
So if you want to see the best of Ijengala,
I know.
no, but now watch out.
You see us.
I see. Okay. All right. One more call, and then we head over to Facebook. Good morning. Okay, you need to reconnect. And Frank, let's see what's happening on Facebook.
Okay, so from our Facebook page here, Ekegona says Mondo Bibelo ordering his cabinet always to wear Tinubu cap on their sitting days tells more how democracy is being practiced in Nigeria. And he adds, Tinubu's plan having one party system in Nigeria is gradually working, and then by defecting to the APC, I think he will regret it sooner than later. Don't be too sure. And then Master B SJP says Southeast people lack political unity completely in Nigeria. And notice in Southeast that an average youth doesn't even know how to attend political party meeting except when an election is approaching, in which he or she would like to apply for party agent for his or her drink money. Okay, so nobody should blame Governor Ba as he defected to the APC to meet up with his self-achievements. Okay, he posted from Onitsha. Dr. Mrs. Molebra from Owere says sycophants everywhere. Mebelo has taken it to the highest level, and she says to Fiawa. Okay, she says corruption is flourishing in this country because we don't abide by rule of law and fear of God. She says Nigeria is bleeding to death. She adds that a corrupt person cannot fight corruption because a pig will always remain a pig even if you bathe and clothe it. Okay, so we end it here. Okoyang Leka, thank you for watching. Ugochukwu Frank says weak Southeast, South leaders elected on PDP now forcing their people into a party which is unpopular in the region. Adults behaving like political infants. You want to be connected to the center. Those states already in the APC, how are their state and people feeling? Different impact from the rest of Nigerians. Okay, we retract. Obia Wikechku Christopher says he's watching from Sube. If not for personal reasons, I don't see any betterment from APC governed state that will motivate other governors to join APC. What we hear from defectors are just what will please the public. A lot happens in the background, and this is not profitable to them simply because the ruling class decides who wins and not. If power is really in the hands of the people, the narrative and response from people will be considered most. Then Godswill Okoye says all these governors making noise about APC are just doing it for their interests and not in the interest of the masses or those who voted them into power. And then he says, why did the Enugu governor join APC? Is it that APC leadership is doing well in Nigeria? Okay, so that's the question he put up for an answer. Then on a number election, he says that the election is going to be as usual. It's just for formality, and according to him, no party can defeat APGA. Then April Sunrise says he's watching from Afikpo in Ebonyi State. Then John Umbe says, and the number must not be allowed. Okay, the number must not allow themselves to be hoodwinked or bamboozled by the theatricals and propaganda of a certain person. I'm not going to call name because we cannot use a platform to campaign against anybody. And he says that politicians are selfish. That's the way I'm going to leave it. I edited what you posted. Forgive me, but I had to do that. And then, John Boy also added that please, when you count APC states, you must count Anambra State because the governor of Anambra State will decamp from ABCA and move to APC. So these are the posts we have on our Facebook page.
All right, Tony, would you like to react to any one of them as we take down the curtain on today's edition of the show?
What else do we say? We've seen it all. And for those who are saying that Mba will regret joining APC, tell me how many governors who have joined APC that is regretting today. And none of them is regretting. I saw Boroweri. I saw the governor of Akwa Ibom. And then for the first time, I saw Mba donning Kaftan or Abada. And I read his his speech. He has done well as a PDP governor. So one asks, what does he want APC for? But he says that he wants a better platform, accommodating platform. It's just like leaving your family to another family. But just like we said, the constitution is silent on governors defecting. So if you crucify him, all he would do is to deliver Enugu to APC come presidential election in 2027. And whether he does it or not is left to be seen, because I know in the southeast none of the governors were able to deliver their state to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even while being in their respective parties. So people decided to do what they wanted to do. Whether they will do it this time is left to be seen.
Thank you, Tony, for your wonderful analysis this morning. Thank you for your calls and your contributions. Franklin, what shall I say?
Well, to answer Tony, should have been an answer, because Udoko yesterday, he was on TV, he was talking about how they are going to make that thing happen, that they are going to break the jinx. According to him, people who win election were not in APC before, but now they have joined, that they are going to break that very jinx. Then you can crucify him back on a moral ground, but he has broken no law. He broke no law because, as Tony said,